Hey guys. So I've been thinking about doing this video for the last 2 years, and I guess it just feels really appropriate now. So guys, this may not interest you, but girls, this is all about breast cancer awareness. So 2 years ago, my auntie was going through her breast cancer treatment, and considering that my mum passed away from cancer and it was really hard watching my auntie go through that, but she was so brave and it was so inspiring. And then I discovered that I actually had some breast lumps, which a lot of things ran through my head. I think the biggest reaction that I had was to try and ignore it. It wasn't ignorable though, and I kept noticing them, and they started to feel different, like they were changing or maybe getting bigger, and I decided I had to do something about it. For me, it was really important, as I'm sure you can understand, for that to be taken seriously, because it was such an important topic for me, and it was something that was very, very personal and very close to home, and it was also, my body in a sacred space for me with my body. At the time I was studying, and I think that was really good timing because I had the opportunity to go and see the nurse. I was finishing my AUT papers at Bay Plenty Polytech, and I went and saw the nurse and talked to her about it, and she checked out the lumps. And it was quite scary going in and getting her to check the lumps, but afterwards it just felt like that was a big weight off my shoulders. I asked her who she would recommend for me to see to take examination and testing one step further, because being a young woman, it can be hard. Like, people say, oh, you're only in your early 20s, what are the chances? And I didn't want to have anything to do with anyone who had that kind of opinion, because this was so important to me. She was great. She recommended a doctor in Tauranga who she said, this is one of their passions, and they're great with referrals for next stage of testing, and I'd recommend that you head along to him. So if you are in Tauranga and you want to get any lumps checked, let me know and I can direct you his way. I went and saw him, and he examined the lumps. That was sort of making it feel a lot more real. But he was great, and he said, I think it was 80% sure that while you do have lumps, that they're not cancerous because of how they were moving and how they felt. He said, but for your reassurance, I'm happy to give you the option to go to the hospital. Thank goodness we have such a great public health system, honestly. I can give you a referral to the hospital to get an ultrasound to get them checked. And I said, yes, please, because I knew that I needed to have peace of mind with this, and it was really important to take that next step, even though it seemed really scary. My appointment at Tauranga Hospital was booked, and I didn't actually have to wait that long. I think maybe a week or 2 weeks tops. When I went to the hospital, they were so great. The ultrasound technician was lovely, and she examined the lumps. She was familiar with what we were looking out for, and how things were meant to be moving and how things were meant to be looking. And she was really professional, and I felt really at ease because I needed the answers and I needed to investigate. The doctor then came in and he examined the lumps as well. They took some photos and talked about how the lumps were behaving and how they were moving and what that meant, and it was just really, it was easy to understand, even though what they were speaking about had previously been very foreign to me. I really appreciated their professionalism, and it certainly put my mind at ease. He said that he was very sure, I think he gave you some ridiculously high percentage, like 98% sure that the lumps, they were definitely lumps, but they were not cancerous as well. But he said to me, I'm going to give you the option of having a biopsy. He said, now, I'm so sure about the lumps that I don't feel you need the biopsy, but for your own peace of mind, and so you don't sit here in 2 months' time going, oh, I just wish I had the biopsy so then I could just be 100% sure at this stage. He said I would recommend, you can have the biopsy, the offer's there, through the public health system. You come back to the same place. We do a very similar procedure, but we would take some tissue from your lumps and you can have it tested just to be reassured. And I agreed. I didn't have to wait that long before going in. I have a massive fear of needles, so that was really scary. The needle that they used obviously took out some tissue from a couple of different lumps, and they used that for testing. So when I went in, it was a very similar procedure. We did the ultrasound, and there were actually more lumps than I realised. I thought it was just concentrated on one breast, but it was on both. And I hadn't noticed because the other lumps were smaller and in a slightly different spot. So do your breast checks. But even if you've been doing them, if you go and see a doctor and get checked, they're going to check all over anyway. So we took some biopsies. I was really fortunate I had a friend come along with me, and that was great because I'm real good at talking and getting nervous and having that nervous chatter, but when it came down to the actual the numbing and the taking the biopsies, that's when I just go silent, and I just need someone to distract everyone and make everyone feel comfortable. That's just me personally, but they were fine with me having someone else in the room just for that extra support, and that meant so much to me. It made the process a lot more comforting, I guess. They took the biopsies and they said, we'll do the testing and then we'll get back to you, give you a call, let you know. So they did that. Fortunately, my results came back clear. So while I do have the lumps, and I still have the lumps, they're fine. It was a really big thing for me, but I think it's just really important to talk about it. I mean, I've gone 2 years and I've told a couple of friends, but I figure that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it is something that's affected my family directly, very closely, and it can be scary, and my initial reaction was to try to ignore it, and I think that that's pretty typical, especially for younger females. Don't ignore it, because it actually starts to affect how you sleep at night, and it's not a fun experience. My biggest concern was going to see a doctor who wouldn't take me seriously, but there are definitely ways to get around that. There are health professionals out there who, that is what they're passionate about. I'm definitely not bagging on doctors. But it doesn't really matter how you get checked and trust your gut. So if you feel like there's something a bit off, if you feel like there's something a bit different, trust that, because you do know your body. You just got to start listening to your body, and you can start feeling things a little bit differently. And it's when you feel like something a bit off and you've got concerns that it's really important to take it to the next level. You know you best. And if you don't feel like you've been taken seriously, go and see someone else. Just take it on the chin. You still know your body. And if you've got concerns, follow them up. 2 years on, I still have my lumps. I'm not concerned about them. I feel like I will want to get them checked again, maybe in a year's time, just to double check, because things do change. But I'm really grateful that I had the courage to go out and find someone who could give me some answers, and also just explain what my lumps actually were. And a lot of women have breast lumps, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're cancerous. They're quite normal, but it's not always easy to be able to tell the normal ones from the not so normal ones. So get checked. Please get checked. Your family and your friends will love you for it, because at the end of the day, they love you and they want you to be around, and they also want you to not be stressing about something that you just don't have answers to. Have an amazing day, great weekend, and go get checked.